paragraph that's in front of you right here is standard throughout the industry. And it says, without permission from the lender, you cannot go ahead and start a case. You cannot go ahead and make a deal. You cannot go ahead and do a lease modification, sign a new lease, give a rent abatement, etc. Please don't go ahead and work without the lender's permission. Now, a lot of the lenders are ignoring your request right now. Be aggressive, go after it. At the same time, what I'm seeing and what I'm experiencing is that the lenders' slowness have been gotten away of deals to be made, and the few chances we've had to get into court when there were openings, we missed some chances on it. We really had to pay the price as a result of that. Let's go through the commercial landlord-tenant pandemic negotiation. We have the negotiation, we have the lender, the landlord, and we have the commercial tenant. The negotiation works out, the lease modification is done. What is the commercial tenant looking for? They're looking for deferment, they want free rent, or they want an abatement. Now, yes, of course, the commercial tenant, the number one thing they would like is free rent, and that may be an option. Another thing they'd like is to pay the rent later. That's another option. Another one of the games or tricks or things that are going on is a landlord may say, okay, I'll give you a rent abatement now, I'll give you some free rent now, but let's tack on the rent to later in the lease, but let's extend your lease. That's another tactic that a lot of commercial landlords are doing that a lot of other landlords don't know that's going on. One of the worst things that I see in bankruptcy, and there's a lot of bankruptcies going on, is when the security deposit becomes antecedent to the bankruptcy debt, meaning that for some reason the commercial tenant did not pay their rent and the security deposit is being fought over in bankruptcy court. No. In almost every commercial lease, the security deposit, if you do not pay it, becomes the property of the landlord if the landlord takes it and draws down on it. So as a commercial landlord, please take the security deposit, then you send a notice of replenishment, because the landlord in every commercial lease, the landlord is required for replenishing the security after the landlord takes it. And then if the tenant does not replenish the security, then you can, well, if you're allowed to, because this is the first time in my lifetime that the government is allowed to actually close down the court. The biggest problem right now is the commercial landlords. The landlords are going to the lenders saying, look, we can't pay our mortgages. The commercial tenants are not paying their rent. We can't afford to pay you. Full disclosure, I represent most of the lenders in New York. You contact the lender for the negotiation. The lender sends you the toughest pre-negotiation letter you've ever seen in your life. And then you ask for an abatement and deferment, and they say, no. Lenders are not giving abatements or deferments unless it's a small bank and you're one of their biggest customers, or you're a large bank and you're one of their biggest customers, or you've been with them a very long time, or when you get your governmental representative to call them, and that seems to be the third way to get their attention in their ear. That being said, there's no negotiations going on. Now, however, if you're dealing with a private lender, they may be more apt to listen. They're still not giving you an abatement or deferment, but they may be more apt to listen, and they're actually getting more into the games, more as in, oh, I know the building, I know that, why don't you try this, why don't you try that?